Hey, greetings. Michael DDA here once again. We're here every week. We are going through Exodus 26 today. Let's get started. Last week, we talked about this. He says, this is Yehovah talking to Moses. He's going to be talking to Moses for many chapters. We're on 20. This is 25. We're doing 26 today. I think he comes back down the mountain on 32. So he's going to be talking to Moses for quite a while. But last week he told Moses, and let them make a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. What is the sanctuary? You know, today we're going to talk about the tabernacle. But this is a sanctuary. This is kind of the big picture of what we're doing. Here, this will help you. This is a sanctuary, or this is the sanctuary. The set-apart place that Yehovah is going to have for his people where they can dwell in. We're going to talk today about the manufacturing of the tabernacle. This is the tabernacle, which has the holy place and the holy of holy place. We're going to talk about that today also. So, he talked about the sanctuary. And so here's what he had to say. I think this is interesting. Let them make a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show you, that all that I show thee, he's talking to Moses, that is the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all its furnishings. So you shall make it. So he's talking about the sanctuary, the mikdash, and he's talking about the tabernacle. We're going to see the tabernacle when I turn to the very next page. Last week we made the ark. We made the mercy seat. We made two cherubim on the mercy seat. We talked about the table of showbread, and we talked about the lampstand. That was pretty much it, I think. Yeah, that was pretty busy. Today, you're going to have to put on your thinking cap because it's a little bit difficult. I'm going to try and break it down. I'm going to give you some visual aids, which I think is going to help greatly. Here he says, moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with its 10 curtains. Do you hear that? We're talking about the construction of the tabernacle. Instead of the mikdash, we're talking about the mishkan. That is the tabernacle. Ha-mishkan. It's got that definite article on it. Ha-mishkan. It's important. It's not a plural, but it is important. I think when they have the ha on it, that's telling us literally that it's important. Now, he says, make the tabernacle with its 10 curtains. Here, do I need to enlarge this? I guess it is enlarged. Of fine woven linen, and blue, purple, and scarlet thread. Hear that? Fine woven linen with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. I think, and we're going to see some pictures today of what it potentially looks like, the tabernacle. I got a hunch that this was primarily done on white linen, and the purple, blue, and scarlet thread with the cherubim design is all embroidered on the white linen. Just to challenge your thinking just a little bit. When we look at this word for linen, the word is shishi. And it's bleached stuff that is white linen. And then it says of twined, twisted. Then it says, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. Do you see what I'm saying about this stuff being embroidered? I don't think they're weaving it in. I think it's woven in white. The basic of this covering is white. It's the colors that they're embroidering into it with the colored threads. Now, notice it's got 10 curtains. So we're going to talk about 10 curtains, but it says it's the tabernacle with 10 curtains. The 10 curtains is part of the tabernacle. So when we think about the tabernacle, we've got the sides, we've got the stuff that's in it, but this covering is part of the tabernacle. The next covering is going to be the tent that's going to cover the tabernacle. I put the tabernacle is not going to be raised until the first day of the first month of the second year. And it says, see Exodus 4. Exodus 4, if we go there, it says, on the first day of the first month, this is the second year that we're going to be there, you shall set up the tabernacle of the tent of meetings. But if I go back, let me go back to where I was, 26:1, over here, it says this, and I think this is confusing to a lot of people. Exodus 33 is right after Moses comes back off the mountain and they deal with the golden calf. The very next chapter is 33. Here's what it says in 33. It says, Moses took his tent. It doesn't say his tent. It says the ohel, the tent, and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the Tabernacle of Meetings. They're calling it the Tabernacle of Meetings, but it's not the Tabernacle of Meetings. It is right here, the tent is ohel, the tent of Moed. You could call it the tent of meetings. I think that would be more than acceptable. Maybe the tent of appointments, because it is a moed. But this is where Yahovah is going to meet with Moses. And I think Joshua is going to be with Moses in the tent. Could they be staying in this tent? I don't know that for sure. The tabernacle is not going to be raised until the first month of the second year. Remember, we're going to do a Passover right after that. Let's go back. Oh, I did it again. 26:1. There we go. All right. Number 2. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain shall be 4 cubits. And every one of the curtains shall have the same measurements. So we've got 28 curtains. Well, first of all, let's talk about a cubit, because we got to convert cubits to feet if we're going to understand at all what Yahovah is trying to tell Moses right now. A cubit is 18 to 20 inches. For our purposes, we're going to use 18 because it's an easy conversion. If one cubit is 18 inches, then we know it is 1.5 feet. So we can take a cubit and we can, like 18, we can take the half. I'm sorry, 1 is going to be, how does that go? What am I doing here? Cubit is 18 inches. Okay, so if we have 28 cubits, we can take 28, half of 28 is 14. 28 and 14 is the 42-foot length of this particular curtain. You see how I'm doing that? It's very easy to convert it when we use 18 inches. 20 inches, it's going to take a calculator. My head is not that good with 20 inches. And If it's 4 cubits, we got 4 cubits, 4 feet, plus half of 4 feet, it's 2 feet. We know that we're talking about 6 feet for the width of this curtain. Now, I got a hunch, because everything on here is going to be 6 feet, 4 cubits. I got a hunch that the reason that is so is that the loom is 6 feet in width, and it's the longest curtain, the widest curtain that we can do. That means all the curtains that we're going to talk about are going to be 6 feet. Let's watch for this as we go through this. Number 3. 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another, and 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another. Coupled, joined. I think they're literally sewn together. Again, we don't have a loom that is going to do a curtain that is 30 feet long. So if we use 6 feet times 5, first of all, the whole thing, 6 times 10, is going to be 60 feet in length. Yeah, that's an interesting number. Joined, like I said, I think they're going to be physically sewn together. And so we're going to do 5 and 5. So 5 times 6 is going to be 30 feet by the 42-foot long sections of each of these curtains. Let's continue. And you shall make loops of blue yarn. There's the blue yarn, where again, it's a white fabric. They're making, I think, buttonholes might be a good way to think about this. Buttonholes. You shall make loops of blue yarn on the edge of the curtain, on the selvage of one set, that is the edge of one set. And you shall likewise do on the outer edge of the other curtain of the second set. And I talked about what a selvage is. It's the edge of a fabric that is woven that it will not fray or ravel. So it's just keeping it from fraying or raveling. That's why we're making, as it were, kind of a buttonhole. You know, you have a shirt. It's woven fabric. The buttonhole, it doesn't fray because it's got the selvage on it. It's got the loops on it. 5. 50 loops you shall make on one curtain, and 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the other curtain. Of the curtain that is, I'm sorry, let me start again. 50 loops you shall make in one curtain, and 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the curtain that is on the end of the second set, that the loops may be clasped together. Notice I've got this. This was distracting me. That's why I kind of had a problem there. Okay. 6. And you shall make 50 clasps of gold, and couple the curtains together with the clasps so that it may be one tabernacle. Notice it doesn't say one covering of the tabernacle. This literally is part of the tabernacle. Most of this, maybe not most of this, is going to be seen from the inside. I guess the cover, the top of the tabernacle is where it's going to be seen. Not so much on the outside. And we'll see how that fits together, because it's going to go over the boards of the tabernacle later. But it sounds like 2 buttons back to back with a small space in between. All the clasps are gold because they will be seen in the ceiling of the tabernacle. Yeah, that gold will be seen. 7. thou, remember, he's talking to Moses. This is not instructions for the people of Israel. Moses is going to come back and he's going to tell the Israelites, men, the Ezra men, what he's learned. You shall make curtains of goat hair to be a tent over the tabernacle. So the curtain that we just talked about is the tabernacle. It's part of the tabernacle. Because the tent, the ohel, is the same word that we used before. Here, I think I've got it on here. There it is, ohel, of the Mishkan. The tent over the Mishkan, thou shalt make 11 curtains. So now, instead of, well, here, I think I've got it spelled out. I guess I haven't spelled out in the next one. We're talking about goat's hair. And I think we're talking about male goat's hair, because look what it says. It says an az, a she-goat, as strong, but masculine in the plural. The word that we're using here is azim. Azim, here it is, abzim. So we're talking about males, it appears to me. Not going to hang my hat on it, but I'm pretty sure we're talking about male goats that we're going to use this for. To be the tent. Verse 8. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits. Oh, that's an easy one to convert. And the width of each curtain shall be 4 cubits. Again, do you see 4 cubits? It's the weaver that's going to make the curtains. And then it's going to be embroidered. And I think the reason it's 6 is because that's the size of the loom. 60 feet. What do we say? 30 cubits. No, what do we say? The length of each shall be 30 cubits. So 30 cubits plus half of 30 cubits is going to be what? 15. 30 plus 15 is 45. So we're going to have 11 curtains, 45 feet by 6 feet, made out of goat hair. This tent, I'm talking about the ohel, the goat skin covering, is going to be 66 feet by 45, or 66 inches. 66 inches? 66 inches would be no. 66.
5.5 feet.
No, what am I doing here? Completed this tent is, it's not inches. It's going to be 66 feet. That's what we're talking about. 66 feet. Or would it be 60 feet? 60 feet. Okay, Michael, do what you taught us. 30 plus half of 30 is, oh, I know, 60 times 11 is 66 feet. Yeah. 66 feet is correct. 66 feet. Because it's going to overlap the other one by 6 feet. We'll see how that fits together. So I just had inches instead of feet. That's my problem. Let's compare that with what it's going over the top of. So the first one was 60 by 42. This is going to be 66 by 45. And we're going to see what happens to the covering that's going to go over this. 28 cubits by 4 cubits. That's the first one. I put this tent is an extra 2 cubits 3 feet. Come on, Michael. 2 cubits is 3 feet. Sorry, folks. The tent is an extra 2 cubits. A cubit is 18 inches. So 2 cubits is going to be 3 feet. Yes. The tent is an extra 3 feet longer in length than the tabernacle curtain. Good. Okay. Verse 9. And you shall couple 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. And you shall double over the 6th curtain at the forefront of the tent. We're going to double over the 6th curtain. So the part that has the 6 curtains is going to be in the front, and the part that has the 5 curtains is going to be in the back. But the 6th curtain we're going to fold over itself. So it's going to be, in a sense, 18 inches. 66, no. 6 curtain, each curtain is 6 feet, 3 feet. It'll be 3 feet, 3 feet in length. So when it's all said and done, we're talking about a covering that is going to be 3 feet, not 6 feet, longer than the original curtain. And we're going to see that part of it's going to go in the front and part of it is going to overlap in the back. 2 sets, one with 5 curtains, one with 6 curtains, just like we did the other one. You shall make 50 loops at the edge of the curtain that is outermost in one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain of the second set. So we're doing exactly the same thing. We're going to make loops, and then we're going to use bronze clasps instead of gold clasps. Here. These loops are going to be about 15.8 inches apart. The loops on the first set were not quite that far apart. Let me go show you. Curtains over loops. Here we are. Those loops. Oh, that's not it. Where's my loops? Here we are. Yeah, they are 10.1 inches apart. So these loops on the tent are a little bit further apart in their spacing. What did we say they were? 15.8 inches apart. And that's on the 45-inch side of the curtains. And you shall make 50 bronze clasps. They're not going to be seen from the inside, which is why they're made of bronze. Put the clasps on the loops and couple the tent together that it may be one. Now, the dividing line where the gold ones are on the first one and where the other two are joined with bronze clasps, they're not going to be on top of one another. They're going to be offset just a little bit by the way it's put together. The remnant that remains of the curtains of the tent, half the curtain that remains shall hang over the back of the curtain. So we've got 18 inches hanging over the back, and it says, and a cubit on the one side and a cubit on the other side. So remember, we had 2 cubits, but we folded one over, so that made it a half a cubit. Well, it made it smaller. It made it so that we would have a half a cubit on each end. But on the front end, it's folded over, it's doubled. 18 inches are going to hang over both sides, though the front side may be doubled over and sewn. Yes, though the sides, not maybe, will be, I guess not maybe, will be doubled over and sewn. That's correct. You shall make a covering of ram skins. Let me talk to you just briefly. I guess I got pictures coming. I'll just wait. You shall make a covering of ram skin, dyed red, for the tent, and a covering of badger skins above that. Now, there is a lot of discussion about whether this is badger skins, seal skins, porpoise skins. There's a number of dugong skins, which comes from, I think, a whale. Some just say fine leather, goat skins. It's really hard to know what we're talking about for this final covering. He doesn't talk about size, length. We know nothing about that. It's just, I guess Moses knows. He saw it. So I put the tabernacle, which is made of embroidered linen. Embroidered linen has 3 coverings: a woven goat hair, the red skin. Remember, we're talking about the tabernacle. This is the tabernacle. The tabernacle is the first one we talked about. The tabernacle, you may think of the first one as a covering, but it's not. It's part of the tabernacle. Then we have the woven goat skin. Again, I think it comes from the male goats. Red sheepskin, no dimensions are given. And then badger skin. I'm guessing perhaps antelope, or again, goat skin. This is made of goat hair. It may be goat skin that is going to cover the final layer. Again, no dimensions are given. So, like I said, EB, Erdman's Bible, says it's badger skins. ASV, American Standard Version, says seal skins. The New American Standard says porpoise skins. There's not a lot of agreement on any of this. Dugong, herbivorous, marine animal. Dugong, native of the tropical coastal waters of Indian Ocean, the Red Sea. The Red Sea is right near them. They could probably walk to the Red Sea in a day. And the Southwest Pacific Ocean. I don't know what it is. I guess this is the word they use on this Tishash or Takash. Takash is probably how you're going to pronounce that. Takash. It says it's an unknown animal. We don't know what it is. Sea cow, that's the dugong, I think. Or no, maybe that's another animal altogether. And this is yet another dictionary. Probably what would it be? The word study is probably what this one is. Takash. Probably a foreign derivation, a clean animal with fur. Clean animal with fur. I don't know. Clean animal with fur. That's why I think antelope might be an antelope. Antelopes would probably be more easily found for the Israelites. Okay, that's all they say about those 2 coverings. Here, I'm glad, here it is. This is what we're talking about. This one, even though it's not primarily white, I think it was primarily white, gives you an idea of how far it went to the ground. Didn't quite make it all the way to the ground on the sides, but it is going to make it all the way to the ground on the backs. It says that's the first covering was embroidered with, there it is, embroidered with cherubims. It's embroidered. It's a curtain that is woven but embroidered with cherubims. Then we have the goat hair, and they make different colors, and they make the red ram skin dyed red. Remember, a ram is a sheep. So we're not talking about goats, we're talking about sheep. And then they talk about badger skin or antelope or doggone or whatever that is. And then they have an outer veil. We're going to talk about the outer veil and 5 posts later on today. I've got some visual aids that I hope is going to help you understand this. Oh, there was actually 2 that I had. Here's the other example of the tabernacle. It's a square tabernacle. Again, it's not primarily white. This one is primarily red. I don't think that's correct, but that's my thoughts. You decide for yourself. Here's the next one. It says 10 cubits shall be the, oh, here, I guess we're doing this one first. And the tabernacle, and for the tabernacle, you shall make boards of acacia wood, standing upright. Acacia wood. Shifka. Let's see what that word was. Acacia wood. Here it is, here. Shittim. Shittim is the word they use for that. They say acacia wood. Well, that's what they're translating it as, acacia wood. I don't know what that is. Is it plentiful? We're going to see that we need some pretty healthy stalks to be able to put this together, because he's going to give us the dimensions here right now. Acacia wood, it says 10 cubits shall be the length of the board. So the length of the board, if it's 10 cubits, is 10 plus half of 10 is 5. 10 plus 5 is 15. We're talking about 15 feet in length. Then we're talking about a cubit and a half in width. And a cubit is 18 inches. A half of a cubit is 9 inches. 18 plus 9 is going to be 27-inch width. That is more than 2 feet. 3 inches more than 2 feet. That's a pretty healthy piece of wood. What trees did they have in those days? Has the environment changed that much? Because you go to that place today, you're not going to find trees, I don't think, that have that kind of thickness to them. And it says 15 by 27, 15 feet by 27 inches, but it doesn't give us a width. And how wide are these boards? They are actually going to have a single dowel, 45 foot long, that is going to go through each one of these boards once they're put together. You can't do that on a 1-inch board and have any kind of dowel that's going to be have any kind of strength to it, I don't think. I would think you'd have to have a minimum of 1.5 inches. Again, my thoughts. But, where did they get this wood? This is significant. Did they bring it with them? I can't imagine them bringing all this wood with them. And it's possible. 10 cubits shall be the length of the boards, and 1.5 cubits shall be its width. Will be the width of each board. If this is 27 inches in width and we have 10 cubits, no, how does that work? 15 feet high. But if we have 10, what do we say? 10 cubits shall be, no. Boards of acacia wood, 10 cubits shall be the length, and, oh, they haven't got to it yet. How many boards? Does it say how many boards? Do you see it? 10 cubits shall be the length of the board, a cubit and a half. Oh, we haven't been taught yet. It's coming yet. 2 tenons shall be in each board for binding one to another. Thus you shall make for them the boards of the tabernacle. Here's what a tenon looks like. And I would think that what we're talking about is very similar to this. This piece right here is going to fit into this first, and then it's going to straighten up. So they've kind of got it at the wrong angle. I think if they had made it so it was kind of a V instead of going this direction, if they made it go up and down, it would be a little bit more easily understood. And of course, it's not going to be plywood like this one is. It's going to be solid wood. But it's a tenon, and I want you to see what a tenon looks like. 2 tenons shall be in each board for binding one to another. Thus you shall make for all the boards, thus you shall make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And you shall make the boards of the tabernacle, and you shall make the boards for the tabernacle. 20 boards for the south side. So now, for the first time, we're learning the length of the tabernacle. We've got 20 boards at 27 inches. Multiply that out. It's 540 inches divided by 12 is 45 feet. We've got a 45-foot length tabernacle. And we know that the walls on that tabernacle are going to be 15 feet high. So you see, we're getting piece by piece on the dimensions of this holy place. Thus you shall make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under each of the boards for the 2 tenons. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about silver sockets that are going to go underneath the board. Each board is going to have 2 silver sockets. 2 silver sockets under each board. The corners are going to be a little bit different, and I imagine they're probably going to make a socket so that it is one continuous socket on the corner, though they don't say that. But I think it would make sense if it was that way. 2 sockets per board. For the second side of the tabernacle, the north side, we just did the south side. Here it is, the south side. For the north side, there shall be 20 boards. And there, 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under each board. Just like the other side, you got to have it square. For the far side, this is going to be the west side. Remember, the tabernacle is going to face east. So this is the back of the tabernacle. It says you shall make 6 boards. I originally looked at this and I thought, oh, okay, 6 boards. 6 times 27, what does that work out to? 6 boards at 27 inches in the back of the tenons, like the others. But look what the next verse says. You shall also make 2 boards for the 2 back corners of the tabernacle. So I think there are 8 boards, not 6 boards, but the 2 on the ends are going to be designed just a little bit differently. You shall also make 2 boards of the 2 back corners, for the 2 back corners of the tabernacle. Here. This kind of gives you an idea. They did the two boards like this, but I think we're talking about boards 8 feet. I'm sorry, each board 27 inches. And I think the final boards are going to be 27 inches, but they're going to be designed a little bit differently for the corners. So, well, I like this drawing. I see some problems with it, but I like that it gives us kind of an idea of what we're talking about. They didn't design the silver corners differently than the other ones, so they didn't really do a corner on it. They just have this open area. Did they have it like that? I mean, is that how it would have been designed? I tend to think that they would have the silver socket for the corners a little bit different. Again, that's my own personal opinion. We're going to come back to this drawing in a bit. You shall also make 2 boards for the 2 back corners of the tabernacle. Now look what it says. They shall be coupled together at the bottom, and they shall be coupled together at the top by 1 ring. So a ring at the bottom, a ring at the top. Is that all that's going to hold this corner together is 2 rings? That's why I think a socket designed for the corner might be beneficial. They shall be for the 2 corners. So there shall be, so there shall be 8 boards, not 6 boards like the picture that I just showed you. We're talking about 8 boards with their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 8 boards, 2 sockets per board, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under each of the boards. So yeah, I think the picture, well, I like much of the picture. It gives us an idea. I don't think it's quite as accurate as I would like. 8 boards, 27 inches. Each are 216 inches. So 28 boards, 8 times 27 is 216 inches. 216 inches divided by 12 is 18 feet. Now we have the width of the tabernacle. 45 length, 18 wide, 15 high. And the tabernacle curtain is kind of the ceiling. It's going to be 60 by 42. That is our tabernacle. Now, we still have to have the curtain on the front as well. And there's going to be a curtain between the holy place and the most holy place. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So there shall be 8 boards with their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under each board. And you shall make bars of acacia wood. Bars of acacia wood. Rods, I think, is exactly what we're talking about. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards on the side of the tabernacle for the side westward. So we're using bars. And again, we're going to go to this picture. We're talking about 5 bars. This has 3 bars. Keep in mind, one of the bars we're going to find out is going to go through the boards. So this, I think, should really have 4 on it. And remember, this is going to be covered over by the curtain. The curtain is going to go over this wood right here. These are going to be gold-plated acacia wood. 5 bars for the boards on each side of the tabernacle. I read that. The middle bar shall pass through the midst of the boards from one end to the other. How did they design this hole going through the boards so that one rod could run 45 feet on 2 sides and, what did we say, 18 feet on the other side? you got to have somebody that's pretty good with a drill. And I imagine they're doing it with some kind of a hand drill. Do I have something for here? One bar goes through all the boards on each side, each of the three sides, like a loose dowel. I say loose dowel because you can't have a lot of friction if you're going to go 45 feet. So it's got to be a fairly loose dowel if you can get it in and you can get it out without a super big hassle. That's why I say it's got to be a loose dowel. And again, our picture, it really doesn't show the dowel at all, but it's going to run down, I think, the center. We're going to have 2, 1, 2, run down the center, and then 2 more, 1, 2 underneath it will be the 5 that will be in there. You shall overlay the boards with gold. There it is. Make their rings of gold. Those are the rings that are going to hold up the corners. Oh, no, these are the rings that are going to be on the dowels. Weren't the dowels going to be made of gold too? Bars, Tabernacle. I think like the dowels were covered with. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the bottom of the tabernacle, 5 bars of 5 boards. I guess it doesn't say it yet. Middle bar shall pass through. Okay, you shall overlay the boards with gold. Make their rings of gold as holders for the bars and overlay the bars. There it is. Overlay the bars with gold. So this is, even though it's on the outside, being part of the tabernacle, they're making it gold maybe because the walls are all gold covered, gold, how do you say that? Gold plated, gold, how do you do that? I don't even know what it'd be, but they're covered with gold, just like the Ark of the Covenant, just like the table of showbread. And next week we're going to talk about the incense altar is going to be also covered with gold. You shall make a veil. So we're done with that. Now we're going to the inside. You shall make a veil woven of blue and purple and scarlet thread. So we have a veil. I think it's a white veil. And it's going to be embroidered with blue and purple and scarlet thread. And fine woven linen. There's the fine woven linen. That's the white linen. It shall be woven with an artistic design of the cherubim. Now they say woven, but I got a hunch that the word that they're talking about here is embroidered. This is the veil that hangs between the holy and the most holy place. Let's see what we have here. Here's the posts. We're going to have 4 posts. These are 2 of the 4 posts that are going across. This is even out of perspective because if we've got 15 foot high, 18 foot wide, this would be much wider than this. So the dimensions, they're not quite right. But again, it gives us an idea. Did they use square poles? I would tend to think that they would use round poles, but maybe not. He shows the square. I think it would probably be round. But hey, I'm grateful for this drawing that I found. I think it gives us some really good ideas on what's going on. So while I question some of the design, I think it gives us an idea, and I'm grateful for that. Okay, let's go to 32. And you shall hang it on the 4 pillars of acacia wood, overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold upon sockets of silver. Now that's interesting. It seems like all the wood that touches the ground, for the most part in the tabernacle, is silver. Once it goes to the outside, we're going to see bronze is going to be used predominantly for the wood that is going to be holding up different things, particularly the veil that's going to be the entrance of this holy place. So we have it overlaid with gold. The pillars, round, square, I think round, are going to be overlaid. That's the word that I got to use. Overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be gold. So are these like a hook that you would hang your coat on, that kind of a hook? Upon 4 sockets of silver. Remember, this is something that's going to be on the... No. Sockets. The pillars are going to be on 4 sockets of silver. Right. Okay. And you shall hang the veil from the clasps that you shall then you shall bring the ark of the testimony in there. You see how things are going together? Behind the veil. The veil shall be the divider for you between the holy place and the most holy. I think this is really interesting how they wrote the most holy place. Let me just talk about that. So here's the clasps that we're talking about. Knobs, belaying pin, something that they're going to hang it from. How far from the back of the room do we put the curtains? We don't know. That hasn't been discussed yet. Is it just enough room to let the ark fit? That wouldn't have to be very wide. If we're going to make it a little more spacious, remember the rods. The rods are facing on the narrow side. They're on the narrow side. So that means we got to make it for the length of the rod. So the holy place has got to at least be the length of the rod. I don't remember what the lengths of the rods were. I don't remember if it even said what the lengths of the rods were. But it's got to fit in that area. So we don't know the width. We don't know how wide the curtain is. But I'll speculate it is 4 cubits, 6 feet high to fit their loom. Talking about the curtain now. We don't know how wide the curtain is. It's got to be close to 15 feet. But there is no hook into the wall. So it's all on the pillars that are holding up the curtain. So the pillars on the ends must be fairly close to the wall because, we got to be able to go through that curtain. It's a solid curtain that is going to be created. So we're going to go in that curtain through one side or the other. We don't know how wide the curtain is, but I'll speculate it is 4 cubits. Does it make sense that it would be a 4 cubit high, 6 foot high curtain? Because he doesn't say anything about sewing it together. So I'm guessing it's a 6 foot high, 4 cubits, because that's the size of the loom that we're going to be using to make the curtain. To fit the loom and will be attached to and will not be attached to either wall. Now it talks about first the holy. Ha-Kodesh. Ha-Kodesh is the holy. It's got the definite article in it. The holy. Then it says, and the Kodesh, doesn't say Ha-Kodesh, it says Kodesh, Ha-Kodeshim. Kodeshim. It is a plural noun. And I think that it is a qualitative plural. Remember, we've talked about qualitative plurals before when we talked about Elohim. There are Elohim many, Paul says, but he's talking about quantitative, not qualitative. The Elohim on the mountain, or whenever we're talking about Elohim, Spirit Elohim, chapter 1, verse 2 of Genesis. It talks about Spirit Elohim. Elohim is spirit, but this is a qualitative, not quantitative plural. A lot of people want to make Elohim they want to go with the Trinity. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Don't you know he was out? Drop it. You're going to confuse yourselves if you hang on to that false narrative. It's going to lead you in a bad direction. There's only one Elohim who is the Savior and creator of all things. You can see that in, Isaiah 33. Maybe it's Jeremiah 33. Ezekiel 33? One of the 33s. I'm not going to go there right now. But I think it's interesting. Kadesh HaKodashim. The Holy of Holies. Holy of the Holies. HaKodashim. So not only is it a plural, quantitative plural, but it's also got the definite article with it, which again is going to set this very special place where Yahovah has the Ark of his covenants, where Yahovah dwells. Remember, we talked about last week. It's kind of like the heart of a man, where Yahovah dwells. Yahovah searches the heart. What does he say? The heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? Desperately wicked, who can know it? Yahovah, search the heart. He searches the heart. He tests the mind, even to give every man the fruit of his doings. He says it in another way too, the fruit of his doings. I forget right offhand. Let's go on. Now, he said, then you shall bring the ark of the testimony in there. In the last chapter, went through this last week, it says, then you shall bring the ark of the testimony in there. Here's what it said in the last chapter. And you shall put into the ark of the testimony, put in the ark the testimony which I will give to thee. Thee. We don't have it yet. Moses hasn't been given it to him yet. But he's learning what Yahovah wants. He goes on. Thou shalt put the mercy seat upon the ark of the testimony in the most holy. So we're not even going to put the ark in. We're going to put the testimony in it, and then we're going to bring the mercy seat, and we're going to put it on the testimony in the holy place. Here it is again. Holy. In Kodesh HaKodashim. HaKodashim. Again, qualitative plural with the definite article on it. I think that's very interesting. 35. You shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand outside the veil, and the lampstand across from the table on the side of the tabernacle towards the south. So as you enter in, the lampstand is going to be on the left side of the tabernacle, and the table of showbread is going to be on the right side of the tabernacle, which is the north side. You shall make a screen. So now we're talking about the screen of the entrance of the tabernacle. You shall make a screen for the door of the tabernacle, woven of blue, purple, scarlet. So again, we're talking about, I think, an embroidered fabric. Fine woven linen made by the weaver. I think we're talking about embroidering it. But how wide is this screen? If the loom is only 6 foot high, and the screen that is going to cover the entrance of this building is 15 foot high, how do we do that? It doesn't seem that it gives us multiple screens. It doesn't say make so many screens, at such a width. I think we're probably going to do that. We may run them up and down. So maybe we have a 15-foot screen by 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. And remember, we got 15 feet to cover plus the boards. So that could be what's going on. You shall make a screen for the door of the tabernacle, woven with blue, purple, and scarlet thread, of fine woven linen made of the weaver. This is covering the door of the tabernacle. Covering is the word that they're using there. Screen, they translated as screen. Masak, cover. That is a veil, covering. Curtain, hanging. Thus you shall make a covering, masak, blue, purple. We talked about all the stuff. Embroidered. That's why I think it's embroidered. Weaver. Embroidered 50, 75, 51. Here, 75, 51. It says a weaver. I still think it's embroidered. Here is the word study definition of this word. A verb meaning to embroider, to weave, to do needlework. It is used in a simple participle form to designate a person skilled at doing all kinds of embroidery work. An embroiderer. And we're going to see there's going to be a specific man that Yehovah is going to tell Moses, who's going to be in charge of all the embroidery that's going to be going on with the curtains, on the gates, on the walls. Remember, there's curtains that go all around this building that are going to be used here. I got the very first picture that I showed you. Which one was it? This one. Kind of gives you that idea. These things are all going to be woven fabric too. This is 150 feet. We know that this is 45 feet. So this, by all rights, should be 3 times the width or the length of the tabernacle. So this doesn't look like it's quite that, but it gives you an idea anyway. This is going to be involving embroidered fabric as well in the doorway. We'll talk about that, I think, next week. Okay, almost done. Did we finish this? I'm guessing these curtains were predominantly white. Because this is a solid curtain, a man would have to go in and out of the tabernacle on one side or the other. I'm guessing that one side was the entrance and the other side was the exit. This would prevent a collision and unnecessary chatter. Also note, the curtain that goes over the tabernacle and the one that divides the holy place from the most holy place all have cherubim embroidered into them. But the instructions of this final curtain lack that detail. He doesn't have us making cherubim on that. Why? Is the curtain facing outward? Could that be why? And that makes me wonder, when you embroider fabric, one side is really pretty. The other side, not so pretty. Which side is going to face the people on the outside? The pretty side or the not so pretty side? And is it possible? Now, I've not experienced in embroidery, though I've done some embroidery in my life. Simple stuff. But like I say, the back side doesn't look pretty. Is it possible to make the back side and the front side look as good as the other? I don't know. I think not. But again, he doesn't tell us to make cherubim in this. I'm guessing it's going to face outside. That's my guess. So the not so pretty side is going to be on the inside. Well, I'm just giving you my thoughts. I spent a lot of time looking at this. Last verse. It says, and you shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, their hooks of gold, and you shall cast 5 sockets of bronze for them. So the pillars are going to be on top of silver sockets. So everything in the tabernacle has silver sockets for them. Again, we got 5 hooks. Is it possible the hooks are on the inside of the pillars? I think so. But the design on the fabric is going to be facing the people on the outside, would be my guess. All right. Well, we're going to stop here. We've got lots to talk about. I know. This is hard stuff to talk about, isn't it? It is difficult. Putting this all together, you can see even after I've gone through it, 2, 3, Thursday, twice today, I've gone through it. And it still sometimes is a little bit confusing to me. It's a good thing I write my notes. I do have a note on this last verse. Let me just read it. With gold hooks. Oh, I said in bronze sockets. It doesn't have bronze sockets. It has silver sockets. And silver sockets at the base of the pillars. I would have to guess that the curtain is inside of the pillars. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Everything outside the curtain is bronze. Yes, everything outside the tabernacle is going to be on bronze. The fencing, all that is going to be on bronze sockets. This may be why the pillars are mentioned last. I think I'm thinking bronze pillars for some reason. All the metal in the tabernacle is pure gold or silver, but the metal outside is a mixture of metals. Now, see, that's wrong. I'm wrong. Let's just say everything in the tabernacle is pure silver or gold. It is. Bronze as an ally. I've got this note about bronze. I don't know where I got the idea that these were bronze sockets. Oh, no, there it does say, cast 5 bronze sockets. So isn't that interesting? It does say 5 bronze sockets. Sorry. And I just got rid of my notes. Maybe I can get it back. Control Z. There it is. All right, we're going to keep that because they were. The metal outside is a mixture of metals. Interesting. Bronze is an alloy consisting primarily of copper, usually with tin as a main additive. It's hard and tough, but it was so significant in antiquity that the Bronze Age was named after this metal. However, historical pieces were often made interchangeably of brasses, copper and zinc, and bronzes with different compositions. So they didn't always use the same mixtures of metals. So modern museums and scholarly descriptions of older objects increasingly use the more inclusive term copper alloy rather than bronze. Okay, that makes sense. What is this? Cochette. Copper. Oh, that must be the bronze. That must be the bronze. Cochette. Common noun referring to copper. Common noun referring to copper, bronze, wealth. Copper is a mineral occurring naturally. Did somebody want to say something? Okay, I guess not. You guys, I'm going to sign off then, and we'll talk next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye now.